brought a dirge. I thought it was appropriate. It's not my dirge. It's Walt Whitman's dirge. But I found it appropriate for tonight, with the moon especially. Is this too loud? Okay. But I won't sing because that would be just too painful for all of us. So, dirge for two veterans. The last sunbeam lightly falls from the finished Sabbath on the pavement here, and there beyond it is looking down a new-made double grave. Lo, the moon ascending, up from the east, the silvery round moon, beautiful over the housetops, ghastly phantom moon, immense and silent moon. I see a sad procession, and I hear the sound of coming full-keyed bugles, all the channels of the city streets, they're flooding, as with voices and with tears. I hear the great drums pounding. I hear the great drums pounding, and the small drums steady whirring, and every blow of the great convulsive drums strikes me through and through. For the son is brought with the father. In the foremost ranks of the fierce assault they fell. Two veterans, son and father, dropped together, and the double grave awaits them. Now nearer blow the bugles, and the drums strike more convulsive, and the daylight o'er the pavement quite has faded, and the strong dead march enwraps me. In the eastern sky upbuoying, the sorrowful vast phantom moves illuminated. 'Tis some mother's large transparent face, in heaven brighter growing. O strong dead march, you please me. O moon immense, with your silvery face you soothe me. O my soldiers twain, O my veterans passing to burial, what I have I also give to you. The moon gives you light, and the bugles and the drums give you music, and my heart, O my soldiers, my veterans, my heart gives you love. Wednesday. We sat with our noses pressed against the cold glass, staring into the midday yard, which was dark and full of rain. Me with my chin in my hands, elbows resting softly on the windowsill, Sophie, her two front paws poised delicately alongside. Hail had drawn us to the window, sudden clinking and pattering against surface, a curious addition to the routine business of our garden. How unfortunate to have hail when spring had already come. Small yellow rosebuds and plum blossoms were fluttering to the ground, sticking to the bricks as the hail melted away. She sniffed deep inside my ear, trying to identify, I presume, the smell of my thoughts. I have no answers, I said. Your guess is as good as mine. I divested myself of despair and fear when I came here, which is a line from a Jane Kenyon poem, the name of which I cannot remember right now, but maybe I will in a second. We have learned to dance in the kitchen, to reach forward and fetch as the other bends to the cupboard. We will cook the meal, wash and dry the plates, wipe the counters. If sometime during the day I climbed the hill behind our house, you might never know. If I stepped heel to toe across each of our floorboards hour after hour, you would never know. I could curl up with the dog on her mat, sleep the day away, dream of pumpkins floating down a river. Alas, it is not mystery we are after, born for not knowing and unquestioning motion. Some things, my mother says, are private. I know better than to explore discontent. Do not dare the darkness in this sheltering home, this rendering. The good fight. The good fight. The human nervous system sends tiny messages to tiny muscles in our body, triggering our skin and hair to stand up. Animals, when confronted with fear, draw their fur and hackles up to appear bigger, stronger in the face of their adversaries. This morning I stepped onto the porch and smelled the changing season. The scent was of warmer air, of drying green. People had been awake for hours, taking to their feet, lubricating stiff muscles in the pally air. By some magic, summer had arrived. We managed to revolve again, even though in some moments I thought it would all end. In the garden, the Japanese maple had grown outward overnight, spreading over the rosemary and sunflowers, covering the yard in its serpentine glow. And the little hairs on my neck and arms stood straight up, then nestled back down, poised in the flutter and blanket of it all. And now I'm going to read a series of prose pieces from a much, much longer poem called The Ride Home. So this is, I think I'm doing 4 in the sequence. Here is a tableau. There is a hole in the door. The hole is about a foot from the ground. The hole is about the size of a shoe. There is a blue blanket on the floor. The blue blanket has a hole. The hole is the size of a child's fist. The heart is a muscle the size of my fist. My brother is a soldier. He has a gun and black boots. In a world that is covered in sun when my world is covered in moon, he serves, understands the nuance of direction, of dust, of pant creases. He takes buses, will walk the rest of the way. He is self-governed. I know you might disagree with me on that, but it's true. He does what he wants. Much of the time, what he wants is what others want of him. This gives him great pleasure. This makes him a good soldier. When he left, my mother died a little bit. My brother standing in the desert with the gun is like a little death inside my mother. Her protective shield only reaches so far. It wears her thin to send her protective shield so far. Most people underestimate the beauty of the desert. They see the desert as its dangers. But I've read The Wind, the Sand, and Stars. I've met the Little Prince. I slept next to him in the desert, under a violent sky. My pulse was arrhythmic. Precision is more than a steady beat. It is violet, a star hanging below the moon, a striped horse at dawn. I found a snail in the bathroom the night my brother went to the desert. The snail was crawling up the wall. He was wearing a white shell, the most beautiful white shell I had ever seen. He stayed there until morning. Then I put him in my palm, took him to the sweet peas in the yard. He left a slimy trail for me to find him, but I let him go. He'll be fine, I thought. What it is like. The calf is born in winter, havened by shallow waters, 15 feet long, all blood and blubber. He weighs 2,000 pounds. Mother and son swim north, sprout the surface, hum across the void. From the blue mantle, rapid undulations beg their notice. Sleek side bodies, abstruse eyes, a severe contrast in black and white. All are mother and child, the whales and killer whales, the ocean, the surface, great bodies crashing, the water breaking in shards around them. Constellations. The confused calla lily bulbs having labored over which direction to grow, it's a 50-50 chance, the surface one way and ever more dirt the other, live only so long in this California winter. As if it were my job to take on their struggle, I say a prayer for the weather to stay right. While I'm at it, I pray for the Senate to pass health care, for the Bay Bridge to stay structurally sound. I pray for my great-grandmother, who burned in Treblinka, and for my unborn children, doomed to remember her. But for now they stand, the garden's strongest flowers, stems all a-tremble in the February rain, knowing.